And they got, how many meals a day do you think they got?
3.
1, 2.
2!
I know.
They got breakfast and they got
Lunch.
lunch in the middle of the day.
What is that?
And
Is this
this is what they ate. They had salted meat, usually pork, in the wooden barrel. That's meat kept in salt water.
Wow.
In here, the other vegetable they kept in wooden barrel was potatoes, onions, and they had sauerkraut every day. That's pickled cabbage.
What is this? Is this real?
That's a basket to carry things in. And the pickled cabbage. And the pickled cabbage, they thought stopped them getting scurvy, which was a dreaded disease amongst sailors in the 1760s. And yes, so if you come here,
What is this?
this is what they did. See that between the boards? That's tar. If you look at the ropes, it's all tarred and oiled. They had no hot water to wash your hands in. They just washed their hands in seawater. And then before they could eat, they had to scrape them clean on these hand cleaners.
Oh my goodness.
There you are.
Funny.
And then they put them under that barrel up there. See the barrel?
Yeah.
And they washed their hands in vinegar because they used vinegar as an antiseptic, right? And this was what they had for breakfast. 2 ship's biscuits, a bowl of porridge, and at dinner time they got a hot drink and 2 ship's biscuits. Or you could put them near your teeth. You had to put them in water. So otherwise your teeth broke, the biscuit didn't. Yeah.
Would you guys
Okay.
Eat this.
Now, in that bag, the white bag, that's where they stored their biscuits. Tied up to the barrels like that. That's why they stored their biscuits.
Is this
But
what I eat?
that's because there were so many rats and mice on the ship. And they employed special crew to catch the mice and rats. Can you see one of them?
Is this what they do?
The cats, they bred cats so that they could keep the mice and rats down. Come here.
I said that.
Hey, this would be a great restaurant thing. The boat, the pirate ship dinner. Look how
There's not every day of your life
Looks so new.
that you're actually going to touch history.
Yeah.
Right? There's a very, very important occasion in your life to touch history. Because you see this lump of pig iron here? That sailed 250 years ago on James Cook's original Endeavour. And ships carry big weight in the bottom of them called ballast. And that was part of the ballast. The ballast stops the ships from tipping over in the storm. And when he ran aground on the Great Barrier Reef, he had to throw off all his ballast, his cannon, and 2 of his heavy sea anchors to let the ship be light enough so it could sail off the reef. And they know exactly where he ran aground on the reef. He was such a great navigator, and that is sailed with Cook on the original Endeavour. So it's 250 years old. That just coming up to 250.
The first one that came to Australia, right?
No,
The
he was the first European that we know to chart the east coast, and he was the first European to make the connection that he'd hit the same land mass that the Dutch had already hit in the west and called New Holland. Because if you see, there's some laser cut copies of his first charts he drew on the east coast, and he calls the land he has bumped into part of New Holland, and he actually calls it the New Wales.
Okay.
No, he called it the Wales of the South.
Okay.
But when he got back to England, there was an amendment in his journal called New South
Is
Wales.
that the bed?
Didn't come to Australia until about 1813.
Is that the bed?
Yeah. What?
Is that the bed?
Yeah, that's the bed. Look, here you are. Most have got what we call sling hammocks. They slept on those.
good guess,
They're
dude.
all taps. Give you And they all swam, swinging together all night as the ship rocked, eh? Rock you to sleep. And they all slept at very close intervals. One was there, one was there, one was there. And those marks meant that if during the night, what we only have a night watch on, a few sailors, they look up and they say, hey, there's a sail come adrift on the main mast. They'd have to run down here, and if it was on the main, and this man's job was main mast position 2, and they got the right man up to fix the whatever.
Is that the other bed?
Where? That's down to the modern part of the ship. We don't go down there. Now, if there was first class travel on the ship, and this was the first class travel package. You got a cot hammock with sides, a mattress,
Is that the other one?
a mattress and a blanket.
Is that the other?
More hammocks, yeah, more hammocks there. And that was first class travel.
Are you like?
And this journey had 2 purposes. One was navigation, that means finding new lands and mapping them. And that's what the Royal Navy people were doing. But it also had scientific discovery, so it had carried a large number of scientists. And the scientists and the officers of the vessel got cot hammock, and they got a couple of loaves of bread a week to share amongst themselves, whereas the ships, everybody else is not
Yeah, these dirty.
You come here, this is swinging the lead, and when it was near shore, when they're mapping, they swung the lead out the front of the vessel. When they thought it was swinging enough, they let it go, and when they thought they had it vertical along the side of the vessel, they pulled it in, and they measured the wet part, and that told them how deep the water was there, and they'd enter that on their maps. Now this one here, I might need some help here. All right, you're the ocean. You're the ocean, right there.
That's a clock.
Now go back a bit.
That's a job.
That'll do. Right, so when I throw that in the water, the ocean holds it up so it stays still, and the ship moves away. Right, you come here, come on. You're a sailor. Right, just hold your hand out like that. That's it. Right? All right. And you can be a sailor. So if you call out lines running, that means the ship's moving away from there. Okay, you turn the sand clock up, because they hadn't even invented a watch or a clock that could go on it. All right, come on. See the bit there. Right, when time's up, you say time's up. What went through your hand? What do you call that? A knot. You'd call out 3 knots, 4 knots, and as that was a fraction of an hour, they then used maths to find out how many knots an hour they were travelling. And and in those days it was, every knot was about 2 metres along the rope, but then they could equate it to nautical miles to see how far they travelled. Their nautical miles are a bit different to today's nautical mile, which is 1,680 metres. Yeah. Okay, when she was purchased by the Admiralty, they needed to equip a ship for 95 people on board, stores and equipment for a 3-year voyage. How are they going to fit them in the boat? Because this deck wasn't in the boat when they bought it. It was just an open hull collier. So they put an extra deck in, but you can't take away the original superstructure of the vessel, because that holds the sides of a wooden vessel on. Now the sides would fall off. For you, no, you'll be right. You're the only one who'll be right. The rest of you, the message is, keep your heads down and head for the little doorway at the back there, where another guide will tell you about the mini mate's nest, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Head down, head for the little doorway.
Thank you, sir.